Hello, my name is Rob and welcome to Metal Monthly. This is a video series where we talk about everything that happened in metal music over the last month. So in this video we're going to talk about a bunch of albums, some of which I liked, some of which I didn't like, and we're also going to talk about the Murder Dolls copyright, which is far more interesting than it sounds, I promise. I've already had a lot of coffee and now I'm going to have a beer because that's what we do on this show. This is Whitstable Bay Pale Ale. It's not fantastic, but it is a beer. Like, this isn't meant to be a beer review, but I'm not the biggest fan. So first, as always, is albums. What albums were released in August? How is it August already? This year is going so fast. Anyway, sorry, albums. First off, Amon Amarth with The Great Heathen Army. So I am not the biggest Amon Amarth fan. The vocals are a bit too rough for me, and I just want the music to be faster. However, the album was pretty good. I really enjoyed the technical guitar work, and the songs were good enough, but they definitely haven't converted me to an Amon Amarth fan. An Amon Amarthite? A Marthite. Marmite. They haven't turned me into Marmite. What? The music wasn't heavy enough to headbang to, and it wasn't fast enough to mosh to. And I think the band has lost some of their epic sound that they've had in the past. It just felt like kind of standard metal music. But maybe that's just me. I totally understand that they have a big following. This is just my opinion. If you like this album, if you like this band, good for you. I'm not trying to take that away from you. Anyway, next up we have Five Finger Death Punch with Afterlife. Now, again, I am not the biggest Five Finger Death Punch fan, but maybe that's just my internalised metal gatekeeper coming out. So I tried to listen to this song with no preconceived notions, and it was alright. It was more melodic than Amon Amarth, so I quite enjoyed that, and the vocals were pretty good. They weren't amazing. The vocals are either trying to be very melodic singing, which I didn't really enjoy, and then sometimes they go to incredibly rough. Somewhere in the middle, sometimes in the songs they do a kind of singing kind of rough vocals. That was quite good, I enjoyed that. Basically, I listened to the whole album, and sometimes when I do this, I get to the end of the album and I just want to listen to it again or listen to more of their stuff. Sometimes I zone out and the album finishes and I kind of go, oh, I've been listening to that for an hour. This was one of those times. The album was just on in the background and it didn't pull me in. I wasn't terribly engaged with it. Next up, Hollywood Undead with Hotel California. This band has a very varied style. Sometimes they are nu metal, sometimes they are just rap rock. This is definitely more that kind of album. So why are they even on this series called Metal Monthly? It's because I quite like the band and I do what I want. So yes, this is generally a rap rock kind of album, although there are definitely some heavy metal stuff in there. The drums I definitely thought were more metal. It's got decent vocals and the rap is really good. Basically, it's a pretty good album if you already like Hollywood Undead. Also, the album kind of has a bit of a political bent to it. There are songs that are about the rising homelessness in America and the cost of living crisis, and I will always take music with a political message over music that doesn't have that. Combines old seaside charm with a modern bohemian vibe. This is hipster beer to the max. And finally we have Machine Head with Of Kingdom and Crown. This album was very fast, very heavy, with rough vocals and very headbangable songs. That didn't sound as good coming out my mouth as it did when I wrote it down. Headbangable? It wasn't exactly melodic music, but there was a lot of variation in the styles. A lot of it is obviously very fast and heavy, but there's some slower breakdowns in there as well. It was varied and it kept my interest. Basically what I'm saying is that of the 4 albums I've listened to, this is the one I would recommend. I mean, it's Machine Head, of course I'm going to. They're fantastic. So next up we have musician deaths. This is where we remember and honour the metal musicians who have passed away over the past month. At the time of recording there have been 4 metal musicians who have passed away in August. On August the 3rd, Nicky Moore, former vocalist of Samson, passed away. On August 15th, Steve Grimmett, vocalist of Grim Reaper, passed away. On August 19th, Ted Kirkpatrick, drummer of Tourniquet, passed away. And on August 22nd, Stuart Anstis, former guitarist of Cradle of Filth, passed away. So my condolences to all of their families. And finally we have the fun stories of last month, although this month it's definitely a not so fun story. This is the story of the copyright for Murder Dolls. So I read about this yesterday because Wednesday 13 put this as a post on his Instagram and I thought it was interesting. So according to Wednesday 13, the copyright for the Murder Dolls has been snatched from under his nose. So let's back up. What is Murder Dolls? Murder Dolls were an American heavy metal band consisting of Joey Jordison and Wednesday 13. Together they wrote and recorded an album, Beyond the Valley of the Murder Dolls, and released it in 2002. Apparently Trip Eisen helped them with recording the guitar stuff, but basically it was just the 2 of them who made this album. Then they started to tour the album and they brought in 3 other musicians to tour with them: Eric Griffin, Ben Graves and AC Slade. However, for their second album, Women and Children Last, it was back to being just Wednesday and Joey again, although they did get Mick Mars from Motley Crue to be a guest musician on 2 of the songs. So it seems that the copyright for Murder Dolls has expired and AC Slade has bought it. He seems to have done this without talking to Wednesday 13 first, so AC has now launched their website, officialmurderdolls.com. He is selling Murder Dolls merch and is re-releasing the album Beyond the Valley of the Murder Dolls, and Wednesday 13 is pissed off about this. Now, there was some sentimental stuff in the post about how this was Joey Jordison's band first, and that might be true. Honestly, I think Wednesday's just probably more annoyed that this guy who was a guitarist on tour with them is now selling merch as if the Murder Dolls was his band. And I think that's a valid thing to be annoyed about. Now, AC Slade has responded to criticism about this. He says that it seems to him that no one really cared about the Murder Dolls anymore. No one was interested in re-releasing or celebrating the 20th anniversary, which, I mean, maybe, but that doesn't seem very likely. Do you really think that Wednesday 13 didn't care about celebrating the 20th anniversary of the first album from the Murder Dolls? Because that doesn't really sound right. I mean, obviously this is partially on Wednesday 13 for not realising that the copyright had lapsed and not buying it himself. So AC is definitely coming across as the worst person here, but I guess he was just like, people hate me, but motherfucker, I don't care. And if Wednesday 13 wants to beef about this, then let's go to war. Grave robbing USA? And that is everything I have for you this month. If you have listened to any of those 4 albums I mentioned earlier, let me know in the comments what you thought of them. If you like this video, please remember to click like and subscribe, it really helps me out. But thank you for watching, my name is Rob, and I will see you in another video very soon.